Alright, so this is the S&P 500. I'm just going to take you over it. So this is where we, hold on. Why is it not showing? I don't know if you can see that. So this is where we are right now. This is January. And this is the crash. We've crashed 19.48%. And then now we're not that far. Now we're down 12% from the top. But we did go down 20%, which everybody would have said never would have happened. So let me take you back over this. Okay, let's go back to 2000. It's 2008, subprime mortgage crisis. This is 2000 dot-com bubble. How far did we fall in 2000? We fell 52%. How far did we fall in subprime mortgage? We fell 56%. How far did we fall in COVID? We fell 35%. So, how far are we going to fall this time? This is the question we're going to answer. So, let's look at this. Okay. So, this is 2009's trend line. This blue line right here is what I'm talking about. 2009's trend line. Now watch it. Let's just follow it. This is all sustainable. Very sustainable. This is when... This right here is when COVID crashed. This is where we fell. Like I told you, that 35%. So, after COVID's crash, that lasted only 1 week or 2 weeks, however long this is, we start going to the moon. Obviously, that is not sustainable. That is not a growth that which we can keep up with. And obviously, that's all the money that went into the economy. So what I am saying is, all of this rise right here is completely fake. Nobody did this because businesses were booming. Nothing was going good besides they were giving me $21,000 free twice, and they were giving people money free to stay home, and all this crazy junk. So where I really think we're going to go, and remember, we fell 56% there in 2008, and we fell 52% there in 2000. So what would happen if we fell 50%? Would it line up with where COVID crashed to in March 2020? Makes me wonder. So let's check that out. So if we fell all the way to the bottom there, it would be 54%. I don't know if you can see that. So if we fail back all this fake gains, that would be 54%. Now that is a dire situation. Where I think we are heading to is this 2009 trend line. This is the line I think we're heading to, and let's follow it. If we fell to that 2009 trend line, we would fall around 40%. Let's look at that. So we would fall 40% if we fell to that 2009 trend line. And that's what, I think it's Justin Graham said it's going to happen. Grantham, whatever the dude's name is. Some crazy CEO for whoever. I don't know if he's right, but here's what he says. He said this is all like 2000. He said it's very similar, but he said it's a little worse. He said what I fear is that there are a couple of differences with 2000 that are more serious. One of them is that 2000 was exclusively in U.S. stocks. The bonds were great. The yields were terrific. Housing was cheap. Commodities were well behaved, Grantham said, adding that in comparison to today, 2000 was a paradise. But commodity prices going through the roof as Russia continues its war against Ukraine, and the fact that raising interest rates from the floor of almost zero translates into a lot of pain for the bond market. What you never want to do in a bubble is mess with housing, and we're selling at a higher multiple of family income than we did at the top of the so-called housing bubble in 2006. In addition, the bond market recently had the lowest low in 6,000 years of history. In addition, energy prices have pushed up. Metals and food prices are actually on the UX index higher than they have ever been before in real terms, Grantham said. Now, what does Grantham know? I don't know. But what he is saying is it's going to fall at least 40%, and that would put us on that 2009 trend line, which makes sense to me. And the way I understand things is when you have runaway inflation, what you do is you raise interest rates. When you raise interest rates, that makes money more expensive to borrow. When money is more expensive to borrow, me and you don't borrow it. When me and you don't borrow it, we don't go to Lowe's. When we don't go to Lowe's, they fire people. So now the people at Lowe's ain't buying anything. Me and you ain't buying anything. And if me and you sell a house for $100,000 a year, the only way to sell it if ain't nobody buying anything is lower prices, and that's how they're going to fight this. The problem with that is when you raise interest rates, you're going for a smooth landing. I just don't know if they're going to be able to do that. And look, we got Biden. I have no confidence in him. The other thing why I don't think inflation is going to be taken care of is because we're not doing anything to solve this gas issue. And if gas keeps rising, prices do with it. So I don't see anything good. Now keep this in mind. I cut hair. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've read a few technical analysis textbooks. Do your own research. I know you're smart enough to do that. I'll just say this because I don't want you to ever come back to me and say I waited for it to fall 40% and it went through the roof. But that's my take on it. So I say we're either going to fall. I really think we should fall the full 50% back to where we crashed to, and I think that's realistic because all of that after that is fake. But what Grantham said and what would make sense to me is we fall back to this 2009 trend line. And the reason I say that is this 2009 trend line is very sustainable. This is a rate of growth the economy can grow. This 2020 trend line right here is not sustainable. And you go back and find me anywhere on the S&P, the NASDAQ, or the Dow where we go up this long, this fast, and it not crash. You're not going to find it because it doesn't happen. That's what happens when you inject lots of money. And the reason I don't think we're getting ourselves out of this is you would need to inject money to get ourselves out of this. However, that's going to cause higher inflation, which is why we're here in the first place. So anyway, told you I was going to message you, man.